Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. Today's video is a special edition video focusing on NETLIST. This is a stock that was initially featured in the Discord community around about July 2021 when it was trading around about the $7 mark, and then on 18th of July 2021, those of you who've been following the channel will be aware that we featured an interview with an experienced investor and knowledgeable investor in NETLIST by the name of Gabriel. So this interview was very successful, and after that video we saw the stock run up very close to $10. Today's video we're going to have a follow-up discussion with Gabriel, who's got some important information to share, so stay tuned. Okay, I'd like to introduce Gabriel, who's an investor in NETLIST. He's somebody who appeared on the channel earlier, and I'm sure everybody will remember the successful interview and conversation that we had. I have been following him on StockTwits. He's very informative, very educated in NETLIST. He has lots of significant and important information he shares. I think there have been some positive developments with regard to Google case, with regard to the Samsung case, and I think I'd like to speak to Gabriel here, who is going to provide some important updates and developments, hopefully for the benefit of investors, viewers, and also potential investors. So thank you very much for joining me, Gabriel. Great to have you back. And first of all, before we get started, I'd like to thank you for the tremendous amount of research that you are doing and helping investors. In my personal Discord, I am sharing the information from StockTwits that you are sharing on there. Many of the people in my personal Discord are very bullish on the stock, and we feel as though the sentiment right now is improving. I also believe right now the share price is an excellent opportunity for people looking at potentially making an investment in this. So great to have you back, and I'd like you to maybe start off by giving your thoughts on the stock, any potential developments, and also any important information that you can share with the viewers. So again, thank you very much for coming back on the channel, Gabriel.
Well, yeah, thank you, Ali, for having me. I'm very appreciative of your platform to get the factual information out there to investors, because things can get a little bit confusing sometimes. So thank you for giving me this platform, Ali. Yeah. I appreciate that. And as you said, I am very knowledgeable in exactly what's going on. And I like to preface with, I am not a lawyer yes, or a financial advisor for that matter. Yes. Everything I say will be my understanding of what's going on as we know it. And my bullishness, so to speak, is something I've gotten with my personal conviction in what I know. So any investors who wish to either add shares or add more shares or whatever it is, you need to find your own conviction and understand what's going on and make a plan before you do it. But with that said, before I start talking about it, a couple of months ago, I created my own Discord where I was looking for people who were as much of a go-getter as I am. You know, who yes. A lot of times, as you know, a lot of people join Discord and they don't do nothing. They just intake information, and that's not what my Discord is about. My Discord. So
your Discord is a free Discord, yes?
Yeah, it's just, it's free, but it's invited
exclusive.
Only. Yes, but it's exclusive. I mean, whatever that means. But the premise is it's only for people who want to share in the research, who want to help and share. And furthermore, I've been very lucky. We have been very lucky, my Discord, to come across an actual patent attorney who would explain the documents, because things are confusing, Ali. Like you read it and you don't understand it. So it's because of our attorney that we have a very good grasp of exactly what's going on. And furthermore, I'd like to give a quick shout out to his StockTwits name is Stoked, because he's a member of our Discord, as anyone who's on the NETLIST channel on StockTwits knows. He took it upon himself to go above and beyond, and he went to the Samsung case and he sat there and he would give us give us minute by minute updates. Like that's the kind of people that we have. So shout out to Stokes.
A great guy
and,
there.
Yeah, lots of other great people in the Discord. But so I'm here because I want to share this knowledge. I want people to be able to understand it as we do, because as you said at the beginning, we do have a catalyst coming up.
Correct.
So, but let me do first things first. The first thing I like to talk about is the Samsung breach of contract case. And I have a lot to unpack, so I'm just going to go. So just let me know if I say something and you have a question.
Thank you.
Okay, so NETLIST on May 27th of 2020, NETLIST sent a letter basically letting Samsung know that they are in breach of contract of what the contract they had agreed upon. And that's May 27th, 2020, and that's an important date. I'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay.
So then fast forward to recently, the judge in the case gave NETLIST, and again, this is going to come up again because it's also coming up in the Google. They gave NETLIST what's called a partial summary judgment. Basically, in law, the judge decides matter of fact things. Is this a breach of contract? If it is, it goes forward. If it's not a breach of contract, it doesn't go forward. What terms mean, etc. The judge deals on fact, and a jury is supposed to, like in this case, find damages, right? They listen to both experts, as they did, and they're supposed to figure out what's fair or what's right or what they believe.
Yes.
In the breach of contract case, there's a lot of parts to it, but the judge, before it went to the jury, he ruled that the jury will only be deciding the damages that are called covered damages. I'd also like to give a shout out to Jacob. He's an author. I hope he sees this. He's an author for Seeking Alpha. He wrote a pretty good article.
Positive article, yes.
A pretty good article recently. So props to Jacob for that, of Seeking Alpha. But anyway,
I did read the article. It was very bullish, and I think it was very honest and very in depth. So an excellent article. Thank you very much, Jacob. There from my side as well.
But I digress a little. So as we know it, us normal people, it's like damages means like all kinds of things. But as far as the breach of contract case is concerned, it's very important that we know that the covered damages, which is the only kind of damages that the judge allowed to be heard in this case, is damages that or expenses rather that NETLIST experiences because Samsung failed to meet their part of the deal. So for example, if you promise to sell me something at $10 and then you stop providing me with that, but I need this thing in order to do my job, then I have to go elsewhere to buy it. So when I go elsewhere to buy it, I pay $13. So the covered damages that I will be seeking from you is $3. Okay. You understand? Okay. It'd be the difference. Covered damages is only what they experience in getting their product elsewhere from Samsung. Yes. Yes. And really quick, I'm just going to touch up on this. Well, no, I'll do it in a linear format. Okay, so so they did that. Okay. Each side had their experts, and the jury at the end of the day found that NETLIST was entitled to $0 of covered damages, which unfortunately happens from time to time. This particular jury was very young. It was rushed over 3 days. And, this is conjecture what I'm about to say, but they just wanted to go home. Okay. I know that I think that they just gave up at one point, because during deliberations, as Jacob says in his article, during deliberations, the jury literally speaks to the judge and asks the judge if he can explain something to him. But the judge is like one of those test proctors. He's like, I can't tell you anything. You have to figure it out for yourself, right?
So the jury were not educated in technical language and technical inputs.
Yeah, I believe in this particular case, the jury gave up. But again, that is assumption.
Opinion.
No one knows for sure other than the jury. But it's very important that we understand what's going on here. NETLIST did not lose the breach of contract case. Remember, what the judge ordered on, which is matter of fact, is that it was a breach of contract. Samsung did breach of contract. Remember, NETLIST sent them May 27th of 2020, the letter. So that's the day of record, is May 27th, 2020. Going forward, going forward, NETLIST can now start a suit against Samsung for patent infringement on all of the products that they sold after that date. And the reason they can do that is because the judge ordered it. So it is so ordered. That is their breach of contract. So now the next steps are to sue Samsung. Furthermore, they can also sue anyone that Samsung sold to, because those people are using their products, without, they got it from someone who they thought had a license, but they don't. So now they're using them without a license. So now NETLIST also gets to get royalties.
Of course, I also think that I also would suggest that there is a possibility of an out of court settlement as well. With
that's always the case. That's always the case. I'll get there. Ali. I'll get there. So and I'm gonna do one at a time. I'm gonna talk about Samsung, then I'll see if you have any questions, and then I'll talk about Google. So what I just said is that whoever Samsung sold it to is basically liable to get sued by NETLIST. Well, Lenovo and Google have already reached out to Samsung, because as soon as they caught wind of the judgment, they said, hey, now we are at risk of being sued by NETLIST. And we are, just so you know, we bought it from you under legally and with best interest in mind. So if we get sued, we are going to what's called sue you for indemnification, which means if we get sued, you are paying the bill. Anyway, it gets really dirty, but the article I'd like to clear up, because I read it. The article says as of 2015, and I think Jacob was not. I know Jacob was mistaken. It's the only inaccurate thing that I found in that whole article. It is not as of 2015. It is as of either the date or 30 days after the date of May 27th, 2020. So I just want to make that clear. Okay. Now, the very next thing that happened, when this right here, I knew that NETLIST won the breach of contract before that information was released. How did I know? I'll tell you. And I did post this on StockTwits. Before the partial summary judgment ruling came out, we had Samsung started what's called a declaratory judgment in Delaware. Okay. And in their case, they say we did not infringe, and we are bringing up charges of XYZ onto NETLIST. I'm not going to get into that because it's silly. But anyway, now why is this important? If NETLIST didn't get the partial summary judgment, then Samsung would have no reason to seek declaratory judgment in Delaware. What that basically means is Samsung did what's called like a preemptive strike. And they did this because they get, when this happens, they got to pick the court, and they picked Delaware for whatever reason, because they think Delaware will give them a better chance in whatever. There's a myriad of reasons, right? But that right there showed me, oh, NETLIST won the partial summary judgment, because we found out before that judgment came out that Samsung, is seeking declaratory judgment in Delaware. So now I'm almost done. So now let me tell you what's going to happen. So both parties, Samsung and NETLIST, have agreed to extend the time that NETLIST has to reply. I believe it's January 19th. I could be mistaken, but I do know for a fact it's after January 12th. And that's very important.
Yes.
Because as you know, we'll talk about it, is a very important date. I am 100% certain, 1000% certain, I would bet my life on it, Ali.
Yes.
That NETLIST is going to defend themselves and reply to the stuff that Samsung said about them, but they are also going to bring up a counter point, which is a counter sue of infringement for what we talked about. So NETLIST, in closing, NETLIST did not lose the breach of contract. They lost, unfortunately, about $2.5 million in covered damages, which is all by law that they were allowed to seek, according to the judge.
Okay.
So they got $0, but it's very important that everyone understands the breach of contract was a win for NETLIST.
Of course.
But the covered damages were $0.
Yes. That
win will show itself in whatever happens in Delaware. And to answer your point, yes, Samsung has no licenses, so they very, very well can settle. That's always something. Good. That's always something that can happen. Both parties can settle. So before we move on to the meat and potatoes of this call, I'm very excited to talk about it. Do you have any questions on the Samsung versus NETLIST breach of contract? Or
the key question that I would like to ask you with regard to this case is, in your discussions with the attorney who is your friend, I'm sure as well.
Not friend. And let me say one more thing. Let me say one more thing, because this question always gets asked. I always get asked, did he buy shares? No. Our attorney.
So the attorney is completely impartial. Yes.
He's completely unbiased and impartial, and it's the best type because he tells it as it is. And I just want to make that clear.
Okay. So go ahead. So the question was really, if NETLIST were to obviously sue in this particular case and take the matter to court with Samsung, how long do you think, how long are we talking? Are we talking months? Are we talking years? Because we've seen these court cases go on for a long time. And as potential investors, that's not always an imminent catalyst. That's something that takes a long, and we saw what Google did. We saw they have, strategies which involved getting new dates and lengthening the time. So that is a concern, really. That is just one of the concerns.
Ali, you're comparing apples to oranges. The Google case has taken over a decade because Google, what they did, I was going to talk about this, but I'll talk about it now. What they did is when NETLIST took them to court, they literally said, no, we're not going to court. We're challenging the patent. And the patent took 10 years to revalidate. The case was put on stay. That's another way of saying it was paused. Right? For 10 years. The Google versus NETLIST case has not been going on for 10 years. It was put on pause, and then NETLIST had to go through separate kinds of situations to revalidate the patent. And we're going to talk about that. I promise you. We're going to talk about that. As it pertains to Samsung. If you were following the breach of contract, that went very, very quick. Very, very quick. But if what I say is going to happen, where infringement is now part of it, that's a different story, because it's not going to take as long as Google, but it's going to take a little bit longer than breach of contract, because then the judge has to do what a judge does and separate the facts from the fiction, and then whatever did happen, he has to rule on it, and then they have to go through what's called discovery, where Samsung has to open up their books and they have to show NETLIST all the stuff that they sold that's called infringing products, and then NETLIST uses that discovery to do what's called a claim construction. Anyway, I don't want to bore you guys. There's a lot to it. It'll take longer than the breach of contract, but it won't take as long as Google. And I don't want to say a time frame, because I can say 1 year, 2 years, and then they settle. If you truly want to understand the justice system, look up patent infringement trials, and you can see how long they took. But also you'll find ones that were settled rather quickly. So I hope that answers your question.
I think the preference would be an out of court settlement. I think that would be
that's always a preference. That's always a preference.
Okay,
so I hope
should we move on to the meat and potatoes?
The meat and potatoes. And lastly, I'd like to say, for me at least, Samsung was just like a cherry on top. Google was always
of course,
the main course.
Main course.
Okay. And we are doing very well there. So meat and potatoes. Here we are. I'm gonna speak succinctly, because but enough to explain to people what's going on, that have maybe just now getting wind of this. Okay. So a long time ago, 2009, NETLIST sued Google for patent infringement. Google, then they didn't defend themselves in court. They attacked the patent, which is a normal thing. And then the patent has to go through this long and arduous course of what's called revalidation, and it's also expensive. And as of February 2021, this year, the 912 patent came out validated. Okay, the 912 patent has many claims inside of it. Of those claims, the most important, as far as we're all concerned, and I'll tell you why in a second, is claim 16. Claim 16 is the most important, because claim 16 is the only claim that during revalidation was not touched. It wasn't touched at all. It is completely pure from its original format all the way back in 2009. Now, so people understand, claim 16 in particular has to do with a certain kind of chip that came out at a certain time. That chip is called DDR4. As you may or may not know, DDR4 since 2014. Again, I'm regurgitating a lot of things that Jacob said, because they're absolutely right. So you're gonna, if you read his article, these things will be in there.
Yes.
Claim 16 has to deal with specifically and only actually DDR4 technology, and DDR4 has different types of DIMMs, as they're called. They're basically, I don't want to call them chips, but they're different kinds of DIMMs, but they're all DDR4. That is the only kind of chip and the DIMMs that infringe on claim 16. Another beautiful thing that we know for a fact is that as of 2016, Google has had 200 and it was believed, no one knows for sure, to have 200 and is it 250 or 2.5? Oh man, decimal points. I think it's 2.5. I think it's 2.5 million servers. Okay. Oh crap, I hope I'm not wrong. I'm gonna look like a dum-dum.
Well, we can say estimated.
No, it's either 250 or 2.5, but I think it's 2.5. But anyway, and they grew very, very exponentially since that date. Make no mistake about it.
I agree. Yes.
If if they are infringing on Claim 16, which they are, if they are infringing on billions of dollars worth of DDR4. And there's many aspects to how damages work, but the primary aspect is a royalty rate, right? So for instance, if a chip costs, if Google paid $1,000 for a chip, and NETLIST is supposed to get a 3% royalty rate for all chips, that means every chip is worth $30. Now, each server has no less than 8 of these chips, Ali, and their growth was exponential. Anyway, long story short, yes. I've done the math many different times with many different royalty rates, billions of dollars. That means more than $1 billion has come out every single time. The most bullish, I will say this, yes. Of my math, which is not 100% certain, the most bullish was upwards of $8 billion, Ali. $8 billion, and that's my math. Right now, I'm speaking in assumptions. This is my math, with what I've been able to find with my group and us doing things together. This is what we were able to find. But either way, the current market cap of NETLIST is about 1.2 billion. So having any billions of dollars in cash instantly that they can deploy and yes. just do all kinds of great things with will skyrocket their worth exponentially. That's correct. Their actual worth, their fundamental worth. Now, I'm kind of going forward, but since I'm here, I'm going to be here. The reason that Claim 16 is so important, and it's so important on January 12th is that date. Everyone, at least on StockTwits, knows or thinks they know that Claim 16 is worth billions of dollars. Everyone's math on Reddit, on everything, you know, we come up to around the same conclusions. If we get a win there, which will take intervening rights away from Google, and I'll explain that in a second, that means that 100% of the infringement, which is worth billions of dollars, is pretty much coming to NETLIST, if and when they win it, and if they have and if the jury's, there's a lot of ifs. Nothing's 100%. But as early investors, we know, which is why we're in now. We know that this juice is worth the squeeze. We know it. We want to get in now because we know how much Claim 16 is worth, and it only makes sense to make this gamble. But it is a gamble. Nothing's 100%. That's correct. Okay. So now let me talk about the case. So I told you guys about how it evolved and where we're at. January 12th is the hearing where Judge Armstrong will basically, make no mistakes about it, she probably knows how she's going to rule, but she has to do what's called due process and have a hearing and maybe ask questions and get clarification on things. And although it has been done before where the judge has gave a ruling at that time, I want to make no mistake about it. I want everyone to know January 12th is the day. It's a very important day, but it's most likely not the day we find out what her ruling is on Claim 16. We want her to give Claim 16 partial summary judgment, and that's partial summary judgment negating or not giving any intervening rights to Google. When that happens, the stock price, excuse me, let me tell you when that happens. That can happen that day, or that can happen 3 weeks later. I believe it won't take more than a week at the most. Okay. I believe with, I'm very confident in less than 3 weeks, but I believe in the first week because she knows this case very well. It's been on her docket for a long time.
Of course.
When she does rule, and it does happen, it is my logical belief, as many others, and it only makes sense because this is how the stock market works, right? That the price of NETLIST will go parabolic. The price of NETLIST will go parabolic, and I'm not going to say how much, because
Okay.
I'll probably be wrong. No one knows exactly how much.
No.
I just know it'll go parabolic. With that said, there's risk.
There is a risk.
If it doesn't, if like for whatever reason it does not win partial summary judgment, right? Then I also believe very, very firmly that NETLIST will go below $4, below $3, even maybe below $2. Okay.
That's the risk.
That's the risk. In my opinion, as Jacob said in his article, the risk versus reward is there. It's,
yes,
in my opinion, it's hundreds of percent reward versus like 60, 70, 80% risk, right? So in my opinion, the juice is worth the squeeze. I have even more shares than I did last time we spoke. I have a crazy amount of shares. So I just wanted to make it very clear about what's going on. Also, I want to make something very, very clear that a lot of people don't understand, because and this is why the stock will plummet if claim 16 doesn't go through. People say, well, Gabe, there's more claims than just claim 16. Yes, there are. But all of those claims during the revalidation process, all of them, unless I'm mistaken, were amended, changed, or brand new, just added. So they are only good for infringement purposes as of the date of revalidation, which was February 2021. Google will get what's called absolute intervening rights on those. I am certain of it. Basically, Google will not have to pay any infringement on those claims before the date of February 2021. Claim 16, however, if partial summary judgment happens, will be able to get infringement from not 2009, which was the date that they sued Google originally. Remember, DDR4 didn't come out until 2014, so the date of infringing on products is as of the date that the products came out, which was about second quarter 2014. And make no mistake about it, DDR4 is not anymore as of this year, but the staple, and Google 100% updated their exponential rise in servers. Remember, they've been, as of 2016, we knew how much they have, and then as of that, they grew extremely fast, exponentially in servers worldwide. No doubt in my mind that they used NVDIMMs, which is the most expensive type of DDR4, which specifically is infringing on NETLIST intellectual property, and they used lots and lots of them. So yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that infringement is in the billions, and that's why this case is so important. Furthermore, I've been blathering on a little bit. Furthermore, I would like to let everyone know that NETLIST's argument this entire time has been just superb in comparison to Google's. Google's argument is very, very weak, and we're not going to go over specifics because I don't want to bore people or take too long. But I assure you that something that Jacob said was marine polymer. I do want to explain that very quickly so people understand why that's so important. So first off, let me tell you about marine polymer. Marine polymer versus HEMCON was what's called an en banc ruling. So basically, in that case, it got appealed to a higher court, and then appealed to a higher court, and then appealed to a higher court. And then right before the Supreme Court, they had the en banc, which is all of the judges, in this case, 10 of them, of the same court, acting as the ones to yes, yay, or nay, right?
Yes.
And it was a 6-4 actually it was more than 6-4 because there was like a partial. Anyway, I don't want to. It was more than 6-4 of in favor of the person. I think it's Marine Polymer, and to explain to you what that means is, you know how claim 16 went from what's called a dependent claim to an independent claim. Have you heard that before? And I'm not going to talk about it too much because, again, I don't want to confuse people. But it's the main sword that Google is saying claim 16 is amended and we should get intervening rights, and they're wrong. So claim 16, which is claim 16, was part of claim 15, and during revalidation, which is the only time that a company can do this, they narrowed. They narrowed the aspects of the claim, and long story short, basically, is they separated claim 16 as its own independent claim, no longer dependent of claim 15. They just say it's like it's no longer under the umbrella of claim 15. Now they're both their own claims.
Independent.
That's
yes.
Yeah, independent. That's all they did. And Marine Polymer is precedence, and there's very high precedence. One, because it's at the highest court right before Supreme Court. There are no Supreme Court rulings. And two, that win in there basically says that a claim is not amended or changed because it goes from dependent to independent. And Jason Chaseby, one of our lawyers of NETLIST, great attorney, if you look him up, in one of the documents, I love this particular document. When he's talking to the judge, he says, if Judge Armstrong says that going from a dependent claim to an independent claim counts as an amendment, then she is doing what no court before her after Marine Polymer has done. That is extremely strong, because that's how law works. Law works on cases before it, right?
Precedent, yes.
And I'll just leave it at that. I'm finishing now. Long story short, January 12th is the hearing for a couple of things, to include claim 16. And it's my belief, and 100% my belief, that claim 16 will win partial summary judgment. I'm not saying that the case is going to be over that month, next month. There's a road, everyone. There's a road. You can't. Yes. The only thing that'll finish it is a settlement. Okay. Yes. Which is very possible. And that Google, could be anytime. Once they lose, would you, Google has deep pockets. Would you settle if there was a chance that you can take their biggest claim out and not owe them anything? Of course you wouldn't settle. You would so it is very, very possible that once Google loses partial summary judgment, NETLIST wins it, that then they'll come to the table and settle, and this will be over. That's very, very possible. But if that doesn't happen, this will take a while. I'm not going to define what a while is, because no one knows. Because at the end, Google can appeal. It can take a while. But that doesn't change the fact that if and when, again, this is a gamble, if and when NETLIST comes on top with partial summary judgment on claim 16, the claim 16 is worth billions of dollars. We are investors for a reason. We want to get in early, right? Have patience and get the big money later. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, but you need conviction, you need knowledge, you need to understand what's going on. And that's why I'm so appreciative of this chance, Ali, because hopefully I'm able to explain to people what exactly is going on. I'd like to finish with, I'm not scared of getting in trouble or anything, but everything I said is my opinion. I've said some opinion in there, and I've said some fact on the legal things. I've said some facts, but mostly I gave my opinions to your viewers. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor, and And I will say this, do not put all your eggs in this basket if you don't have the understanding of what's going on. If you, in your mind, you can't leverage how good of a bet this is, don't put all your money in it. Okay. Yeah. There will be volatility. This is an OTC stock, over the counter. Market makers can manipulate stocks that are over the counter when there's low volume. Okay. You have to know what you own. That never meant more than in this particular case. You have to know what you own and why you own it. If stock price is going to put fear in your heart and make you sell, then this is not the stock for you. This is not the stock for you.
Of course, I agree.
Ali, I hope I've been able to explain to the best of my ability what's going on. Do you have any questions at all?
No, thank you very much. I think you've been very clear in terms of the case with regards to Google, and I think the point you made at the very end is certainly valid. It's something that I also say. Nobody should invest money they are prepared to lose. And if you do choose to invest in NETLIST, then you must do your own due diligence. You must do your own research. And one of the things that I do recommend investors in my own personal Discord is I also suggest a 10% or 15% stop loss. And as this is currently trading on the OTC, I'm not sure if it will be subject to the after hours and the pre-hours of trading, because the stop losses do not always work in those times. So that's your hedge, but it's certainly you have to have conviction. I mean, I am personally invested in NETLIST, and many of the Discord members have as well. In one more thing I'd like to ask you is from our
wait.
Oh, sorry.
Wait,
go ahead.
wait. Before you go on to the next thing, because I have a counter to what you said. I have two things to say. First, on what you said. If you put money in this because you know what it means and you know what it is, I'm sorry, Ali, but I'm going to go against you. I do not recommend putting a stop loss, especially in an OTC ticker, because the market makers will listen. This is how it works. There's no refuting it. We don't know their orders. They have many orders that we don't see on level 2. They can get a big order and they need the shares to fill it. So they will, and it's perfectly legal. It's trade. They do what's called a stop loss raid, right? And they bring the price down and they steal people's shares because it triggers their stop loss.
You're saying there's a lot of manipulation going on.
Yes, a lot. They collect the shares and then they fill the big order. Listen, on an OTC, there's nothing wrong with having stop loss regularly.
I understand. Okay, so can I follow?
I'm glad you brought it up. Okay. Yeah, on this, I don't recommend a stop loss. You're either in it or you're not. Do not put a stop loss, because your shares more likely than not will be stolen with the volatility.
I understand. Okay, so I think one thing I'd like to finish off with is just let's have a look at the history of the share price. So in our last interview, we had a very good bullish run. It went well in excess of $9. Unfortunately, since then it has come down quite significantly. At one point, it went below $5. Now it is showing some green candles and movement up. I think I am expecting it to move more positively, hopefully in excess of $6 and $7 as we get nearer to the case. In the last interview, you made some comments with regard to short interest. Is there anything you want to clarify on that before, just to finish off? Because I think in our conversations after, I think you did say there was something that you wish to clarify further with regard to short interest in.
Yeah. So people say this can't be shorted as an OTC, and that is not true. Okay. And it's completely broker specific. Some brokers will let you short it. Some won't. Some brokers allow you to, the way brokers get shares is they pay their members to lend the broker their shares, and then the broker turns around and lends it to the shorter. Some brokers like TD Ameritrade doesn't allow their members to short it, but Fidelity does.
It depends on the broker.
short interest really doesn't matter in this ticker. And again, with everything that's been going on, the sentiment will raise, the sentiment will drop. Like, for instance, it was a complete overreaction when we didn't get the small $2.5 million
it's a nominal amount
from Samsung, you know, and I bought more shares on that overreaction because
yes,
there's no doubt in my mind, that going into January 12th, this will rally. That just makes sense in history, right?
Definitely.
People will buy now as we get closer and closer and closer. Then FOMO will start to kick in, and then hopefully people will see this video. They'll do their research. They'll say, "Oh shit, Gabe," excuse my French. They'll say, "Oh, Gabe was right. This is a very good case," and they'll get their own conviction. You know, a million things can happen, but it is my prediction that it runs up going into January 12th. Where it goes from there, we'll know when we know. I don't know. Okay. The only thing I will say with that I would wager on is that it runs up going into January 12th. So if your question to me, do you think right now is a good time to buy? Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Technically, it's a good time to buy because the RSI, well, it's not at 30 anymore, but it's definitely under 40. The RSI is under 40, so it's like right above oversold, okay? And then we have this huge catalyst coming up. You know, fundamentally, make no mistake about it, fundamentally, right now is NETLIST a $1.2 billion or $1.3 billion stock?
Okay.
No. The answer is no. Because you know, they're spending a lot of money every month to pay for these attorneys' fees, and they are making money in their business, but it's countered by the amount that the attorneys are costing, right? So it's a growing company, and they're doing great things with even new patents, and the future is bright.
Yes.
But however, the price now does not reflect the fundamental analysis of NETLIST. This is you know, it's going to be a lot of money because they won claim 16, or it's going to go down because they lost claim 16.
Okay.
Claim 16 is by far the most important thing, and anyone who tells you different doesn't know what they're talking about. But NETLIST has a great potential and future. They have CXL, they have HybridDIM. These are great things. If you look at their patents, they are the future. They are still the leaders after all this time and being down in the dumps on technology, which is huge.
Excellent.
But the thing right now, I talk too much. Sorry, Ali, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe a good time to end the interview there, Gabriel. So thank you very much for updating me, and thank you very much for updating the viewers. So we're going to cross our fingers and hope for a positive result in January. And if there are any developments, we'll try and catch you on StockTwits. And thank you very much. Is there any final statement you'd like to add before we finish?
Yes. One final statement. As far as StockTwits are concerned, okay?
Yes.
If you're on StockTwits, there's no doubt in my mind that there are people that are paid to bash. They are called shills. There are people that are trolls. They are they're just messed up in the head, who just don't know why they want you'll know them because they say nothing of importance. They just throw shade at the stock. They say nothing of importance, right? And then unfortunately, I'm not going to call him out.
Yeah.
But there are people like a certain person that are very, very emotional, and they sold and they lost money in NETLIST. So now all they do is come on StockTwits to bash NETLIST because they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have conviction. They didn't have a plan. So when you go on StockTwits, you got to really try to, you need drive through the.
You need to have a
you gotta drive through the fog. Don't let the fudsters, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt people put fear in your heart. Understand what's going on. Listen to the people with facts. Have an unbiased opinion. That's important, but don't let the fudsters scare you out of your shares. That's all I wanted to say.
Very good point. Thank you very much for joining me, Gabriel, and hope to speak to you soon. And fingers crossed for the case.
Fingers crossed. Thanks for the opportunity, Ali.
Okay, take care. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.